Welcome back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
So, you know, Johnny Million,
Hi.
there's a, it's good to talk to you when the word million comes up in the news. A lot of, especially, when it's over and over. When millions and millions are discussed, it's very important to have an expert like yourself, your namesake.
I know at least 1 million.
That's true, exactly. So do I. We know the same million.
I think we do.
Yes, we do. I might know you better than you know yourself, but that's another conversation for another time. Says the guy, by the way, who you can literally make pop culture monkey dance just by saying certain phrases. So it's terrible. Anyways, so one of the things that is hilarious about Trump's idea of business models, and probably, I don't know, I haven't read The Art of the Deal, so maybe this is a big chapter in there, but apparently one of his biggest, how he knows it's time to really go enter a market and go, it's time for my version of this product to shine, is when the market is completely oversaturated and losing money. Why go into this, into making your own social media network when there's only 3 big ones and one of the big ones has swallowed up one of the others? So Facebook buys Instagram. They're basically the same organization and it's just an output thing. And then there's Twitter. Why enter there when you can wait until you've been kicked off of Twitter and everyone else, because they can't wait for you to come back, forms 6 other right-wing social media groups for the same audience, and then instead of going, you know what, I'm going to pick one of those, partner with them, slice off a piece for myself that's 100% profit that they would have given him. Any one of those sites would have signed him to a deal worth multiple millions of dollars if he'd have just jumped on Parler or Getter or any of those things.
Yeah.
But no, the brilliance of the business mind of Donald Trump is, no, I'll just make another one and park it in the same parking lot. It's amazing to me that anybody thinks he has any business acumen. The irony that most of these folks don't even recognize that he just takes other people's buildings and slaps his name on it, and that's what his
That's his
worth
real
in any
estate
project.
empire.
That is, yeah, it's labeling. Yeah. It became increasingly so. Beginning when he took over his dad's company, he was obviously, there were still projects that were in line to be built. They were working on these things. He at least played at being a real estate developer for about 4 or 5 years. And then he was like, I can make more money just trading properties. And then he lost more money than any person in New York real estate history in a year, and then wrote Art of the Deal to spackle that PR hole shut. And in this particular situation, he's got, he's back on Facebook, but he's got an agreement with True Social, or the SPAC that runs it, to only be on there. I know, I feel you, Flora. Flora knows it's she's like, that's bad business. And I agree. She's absolutely right. So you'll recall that Parler, which is a very awkward name, because I think they went for parlay, as in speak, as in negotiate. You like from the Warriors, you come in here, no peace, no parlay. You got your colors on, right? So that, believe me, that's where they came from, because we all share the same. We're in the same age range. They have the same cultural references, and they want to co-opt the toughest cultural references they can, like the weenies that they are. And so, yeah, it's all Punisher logos and the Warriors and come out and play and blah blah blah. So
if I see another thin blue line Punisher logo,
right. Get over yourself, especially when, if they had it on a poll on January 6th, they had hit a cop with it. So one of the places, Parler lost 70 terabytes of user data in a single hack. The largest, I think, drop of, per capita, certainly, of user data in any social media website in history. I think Facebook is the only one that had more at one point, but that's because they have 1 billion users or 2 billion users. It's, that's a drop in the bucket to them. But Parler just, it was just embarrassing. That was Bongholio's place. The first one that came out was, of course, that I was aware of was Gab and then Getter. They chose, not only were these idiots choosing names that use the same first letter so they'd be right next to each other to confuse their audience even more.
Getter?
Yeah, Getter. Gettr. No E. Yeah, just like Grinder or Tinder, like that. They Getter, which sounds like something sounds like a very Trump thing to yell at a bar. Anyways, there's a guy that got arrested this week that I would like to share with you guys. This is a guy named Guo Wengui, who I think changed his name to Harold Kwok for a while. He got arrested and charged this week. And then, interestingly enough, exiled Chinese billionaire charged in New York with financial conspiracy. This guy, Guo Wengui. Fugitive financier and associate of Steve Bannon is accused by federal prosecutors of engaging in a complex scheme to bilk thousands of online followers. Now, he was engaged in the Steve Bannon. He was all over the Steve Bannon "We Build the Wall" scheme. He was part of that. They decided
Steve Bannon was a big part of the wall building.
The scam to defraud maggots out of their money.
Right,
that whole
right,
thing.
right.
It's what he got arrested for, and it's what he ultimately Trump pardoned him for that. But Guo Wengui is one of these guys who has made his bones as an opponent of the CCP and a fugitive from the Chinese government. Increasingly, I find this a dubious assertion, and his actions over here read more like a double agent. Somebody the Chinese government literally sends over to just stir the pot, steal money from certain people, gin up unrest, and get people mad. I find it curious that they charged him. We got to take a break, and when we come back, Philip Bittner will be joining us. I find
Whether
it
you
interesting.
like it or not.
They finally indicted him this week, and
Philip
Guo
Bittner?
Wengui, 3.5 million of his money was put in Getter, was in an account, Getter USA Limited or what have you. It's interesting that happens, and the fraud case against Trump moves forward at the same time because they are interlinked, because both of them engaged in financial dealings with one Stephen K. Bannon, who is going to be the linchpin that these people will curse in their jail cells. We'll be back.
You're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I've had people walk out of me before, but not when I was being so charming.
Video streaming at halsparks.com.
I don't care for you or for the putrid sludge you're troweling out.
Damn puss-faced little pimp stick.
True progressive talk.
Good time for you guys to give up.
So, welcome back to the show. Philip Bittner will be joining us in just a second. He's reconnecting or connecting as we do, and we have a lot to talk with him about. Not the least of which is there's an article in Bloomberg talking by Andreas Kluth, which is a great name. It sounds like a villain.
It is, yeah.
In a murder mystery. But what motivates Putin and his followers is resentment, is the article in this. And I would argue that is one of the reasons why the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and the Matt Gaetzes of the world connect so much to Russia or their belief, because they have the same resentment. It is the same gripe. Now, while we're waiting for Phil to come in, I want to continue the story that I was talking about with Guo Wengui, because this guy is directly connected to Steve Bannon, and this guy was arrested, and they seized over half a $500 million in his money floating around. Oh, there he is. Okay, we'll come in. Hold on one second. I think he's popping back in. He's trying. We're seeing it. It's always, it's always an ice skate uphill to try and get somebody online in these situations, but he's
from
there.
Ukraine.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully he's able. Oh, nope, he went away again. All right, I was already putting his link in. Like I have to. So for the who's at home, those because radio is the theater of the mind. When a guest comes on, or even when Johnny Million comes on, or whatever, I have to, when they pop on, quickly copy the link for their appearance on the show, and then put it in my streaming software, which is it's a little cut and paste job on some little menus.
Gently.
Yes, I do. You can't rush that kind of thing. It's it's like petting a cat's fur backwards. It just doesn't like it. So it takes a little bit of like I wouldn't say it's a high stress environment, but it's closer to one of those like stupid games you play at a fair where you put an egg on the end of a spoon and try to walk really fast and your partner's yelling at you. Right. That's about the level of stress of getting it done. Would it be great if there was an automated way of doing this? Absolutely. Am I working on a way to fix that? Of course. Right now, is there one? No. And take that, Chat GPT. You're not helping. Anyway, so here's the thing. So this guy that I'm talking about, this Guo Wengui fella, again, the owner of the yacht that Steve Bannon was on when he was arrested. For the We Build the Wall scam where he was defrauding maggots out of their money, and Trump pardoned him for that. While, by the way, calling him a scumbag all the time. It was super weird. Like he was not friendly in his language towards Steve Bannon, but when it mattered and where it mattered, boy, oh Shevitz, did he allow him to just skate. And in many ways, go right back to doing what he was doing. So Steve Bannon still has this relationship with this guy, Guo. That guy got to keep his money. He wasn't indicted on it till now. And that scam, like basically everything that this guy is involved in includes Steve Bannon and by extension, largely Donald Trump. And all of it is the same kind of pump and dump fraud scheme that you see all over the place. I would not doubt if we would find out that some of the money seized by the feds, was in SVB or Signature Bank. Wouldn't be shocked at all. Right now, they're not saying, I think, because the banks go, it's not our fault, right? But, and the problem is sometimes banks will complain that, like, if you make a big deal out of it, other people won't want to have their money in there because they didn't know there was a crime going on. They just thought it was another account. And then, people will think they did know and they were participating in it, like, I don't know, Deutsche Bank. So, all right. So over 6 weeks in 2020, the indictment says about $452 million worth of GTV, that's Guo TV, that's that guy's own network. Common stock was sold to more than 5,500 investors in the United States and abroad. That's not a lot of people for that amount of money. But prosecutors said much of that money did not go to developing and expanding the business. For example, prosecutors said $100 million was invested in high-risk hedge fund for the benefit of GTV's parent company and its owner, a close relative of Mr. Guo, who was funneling the money to him. And in another scheme included in the indictment, Guo and others were accused of inducing people to invest more than $250 million in something called G Clubs. This dude throws his last name, and he and Trump are cut from the same cloth. It's amazing. G Clubs, which claimed on its website to be an exclusive high-end membership program offering a full spectrum of services. To join, prospective members paid a one-time fee ranging from $10,000 to $50,000. In reality, G Clubs providing nothing close to a full spectrum of services and experiences to its members. It was supposed to be some sort of high-end almost had him. I was literally, Phil popped in, and I grabbed the URL, and then he vanished again. The internet there is spotty right now. There's a lot going on. The Securities and Exchange Commission, in parallel civil action, sued him at the same time. They said Guo is a serial fraudster. Guo took advantage of the hype and allure surrounding crypto and other investments to victimize thousands and fund his and his family's lavish lifestyle. And Steve Bannon's and Donald Trump's. These guys are thick as thieves. And I would argue that the only way that Guo gets out of any of this stuff is to throw a bone to prosecutors, shave some time off, because his second biggest fear is that he gets 50 years in an American prison. His biggest fear is that they go, you know what? we're going to throw the CCP a bone and just let them have you back because we don't like you and you're not an American citizen and you've engaged in so much fraud over here, that they're going to go after you for the fraud you committed there, and you're not really a dissident. You're and the problem is, I think the State Department knows this, is that if they send this guy back to China, there'll be an illusion of a prosecution, or they'll, oh, here we go. I think we got Philip. Looks like he's there. There he is. Hold on one second. Let me grab that link and we'll get him in the show in just 1 second. The problem is that he will, like Maria Butina, end up getting some sort of hero's welcome, and the story will vanish, and he will go live in relative luxury in China because mission accomplished. I lost him again.
He just came in, screamed "hey," and vanished.
That's right. We're working on it, or he's working on it. He's in Ukraine right now, so he's popping up. He'll be with us in just 1 minute. By the way, follow Philip Ittner at Philip Ittner on Twitter. 1L, 2 T's in Ittner. He's got new vlogs coming out. I think he released one Friday or Thursday about his time at the front line. He went down near Bakhmut as far as they could go forward. There's a lot going on there. I have questions for him. I can only imagine what the chat is waiting to ask him at infotainmentwars.com. We don't need the documents. We got everything memorized.
Yeah.
So, it was Miles Kwok was the name that he was using in the United States. And the fact that this guy was indicted for $1.1 billion in fraud this week already, like, this dude is going down. He's not getting out of this. This is going to result in criminal prosecution. He's definitely going, and I don't know how, as a fugitive from China who's not a U.S. citizen, I don't know how you give someone like that bond or bail. He's absolutely a flight risk. The dude is, I mean, he's got a multi-million-dollar yacht parked in Florida, and it's not like, the leadership of that state won't look the other way as you try to, bug out to the Caymans on your superboat or go down to South America. So, insofar as he's back, maybe, possibly, maybe. There he is again. Phil, we see you. I hope it's staying this time.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, and we hear you, and there you
are.
Look at that.
Okay.
Welcome to the show.
I don't know if it's the internet on my end or something on your end, but yeah.
It's always.
I think it's Hal. It's definitely Hal's fault.
Stop making it about my end. By the way, did you see that? He just vanished again. It's the internet on his end. There's something jumpy there.
I do think it was pretty funny. He's like, I don't know if it's the internet on my end or your end.
Then,
you guys are streaming to tens of thousands of people right now, and I can't connect.
Right. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You know me, I will always take the blame, and Phil knows this about me, so he's exploiting an emotional lever that he knows is there. The same way you do with pop culture references. Hopefully he will be with us, in the next break or something. Maybe he'll have to shift whether he's using the Wi-Fi in his situation or cell service there, one or the other. We will work that out. Don't worry. But here's the good part. He's alive and well, and we know this. And that's what most of us worry about, because Phil being in and around Kiev,
that's all the hologram we could afford.
That's right. That's all there is. So let me go back to the news picture here. This story, the reason I'm bringing this story up about this guy, Miles Kwok / Guo Wengui, is it is all tied to the illusion that the Republicans are trying to push that the Chinese own Biden, that the Chinese Communist Party owns Biden. That's the story. Which, if they were, by the way, then one of the things that wouldn't be happening is this story right here, where the U.S., the U.K., and Australia, quote, send China a message. The AUKUS agreement, which was signed last year, has resulted in has borne fruit, and the U.S. and the U.K. and Australia are engaged in the Australia will be purchasing 6 U.S. subs. I believe they're Virginia-class subs, which are nuclear-powered, not nuclear-armed.
And they're like longer and thinner. Like really dark?
Yes, they're like Virginia Slims, right? And they have lower tar, right?
Yeah.
It's actually ironically probably where they got the name, because that's how the Navy works. You know what I mean? They come up with like weird hinky names for stuff.
Yeah.
But the AUKUS agreement, which we talked about last year, which is slowly becoming the JAUKUS agreement because the Japanese are going to be joining it, has resulted in the sale of 6 nuclear-powered submarines to Australia and a partnership with the technology used in the Missouri class or in the Missouri submarine that will be used in UK and Australians collaborating on one of their subs. So the UK has one of these like secret subs that's really quiet, and again, not nuclear armed, nuclear powered.